I spent 100 days in modded Valheim, and here's what happened. But Jelly, why do you already have a sick-ass endgame base? Because this mod pack starts after the plains. It goes to the Mistlands, the deep north, and the Ashlands. So buckle up, kids, because this is an adventure that you don't want to miss. Excitement! So day one of this modded series technically wasn't actually day one, it was more like day 400 or something, but that was the end of the vanilla gameplay. And what better way to start off my first day than a raid from a bunch of angry wolves. The fight with the woofers turned into a fight with a bunch of hairy, angry locks. After a surprisingly long fight, I managed to finish off that final locks, but then there were a couple foolings who also wanted to give me a hard time. They were pretty easy to finish off. The following day we went to Haldor, the trader, who with the epic loot mod, you could get bounties. And so I got this bounty for a wicked serpent. Then for like the first time in the game, I actually noticed Halstein. He's a damn cutie and he's eating some stuff. So what I did was that I smacked him on the butt and then I ran off into the Black Forest to get to my boat. The Grey Dwarfs put up a small fight on the way, but we managed to get to the ship. And at this stage, we were on our way to find that mighty serpent bounty. The wind was certainly not in our favor, as it took us like 2 days to frickin' get there, but we did. And my god, Hagar the Helion the serpent was frickin' terrifying. And look what he did to my freaking boat just before I murdered him. He managed to destroy this ship. I was freaking out. He was trying to kill me, and then weirdly, this happened. I started riding him. I've never experienced this before in all of my Valheim days, and then he bit me, and then I'm pretty sure I met my maker. I'm actually so impressed I made it that close to the coast. It took me another 2 days to get back here, and I felt a modded electricity in the air, and look at what was chasing me, a freaking thunder dragon. It was terrifying. I didn't like it one bit. We made it back to Hagar the Helion with our smaller boat, and look what he does. It's the exact same thing all over again. Yes, embarrassment. But I managed to get back to shore, and I managed to bid Hagar adieu. He was no longer after a single arrow. And although he dropped lots and lots of serpent meat, I actually wasn't that impressed with what he dropped. Safely back at home, I mourned the loss of my 2 boats, but my luck would soon change. A few uneventful days later, on my new modded boat that I built myself, I put on some brand new modded gear and got ready to go to our next bounty. I took a moment to look at the waves of the storm I was in. They're insane. Just look at this boat. Isn't it so cool? Next thing I know, I'm sneaking up on the next bounty. This guy is a fooling. And oh, was he scary. I was actually able to finish him pretty easy. Though in doing so, I kind of pissed off the nearby fooling camp, and that nearly killed me. But we picked up the epic loot that dropped and made our way back to the ship. After another few days of sailing and prep, we made it to the next bounty, and this guy was in the swamps. And look at this guy, Akanoth the Slaughtered. I managed to whip out my dual sword mod, and you can see it's pretty insane. I did some serious damage and finished him pretty easily. But again, our fight brought some attention of the local mobs, and I had to finish off this big ass abomination. 3 days it took us to travel to this next point at our final bounty, and oh my god, was this difficult. It was a single stone golem with 2 minions, and I had to be smart. I had to bring them up into a mountain, get them trapped, and then isolate one. Then I could defeat the other minion with my bow. And the final one was the actual boss, and he kicked my ass again. and again and again. It was a theme of this day, and it took me several days to get this guy down this low. And at the end of our fight, guess what happened? It wasn't me who ended him. It was a frickin' Fenring and a 2-star wolf. It was insanely cool, and it was the first time I actually saw a 2-star wolf. By trading in the rewards of the bounties, I was able to get enough stuff to enchant my gear, and I also was able to make these brand new Mistlands weapons, just in time for my first journey into the modded Mistlands, and these are super scary. Spiders everywhere, and I am weak. I am not strong enough for this biome yet, but I take my chances. I'm met by the real adversaries of the Mistlands, the Dark Elves, and just look how hard they hit. I try my best to hold off against the bowmen, but they're just so strong and I die. But I quickly get my gear back and I'm met by a voidling, another new mob in this modded biome. After killing a few more mobs, I notice one of them drops this trophy and I think it's important, so I keep it. But a reward isn't given for anything. I find the first mini-boss of this new biome, the Dark Elder, and oh boy does this guy pack a punch. Once I whittled down his health with a bow and arrow at distance, I decided it was time to get up close and personal, but his roots were getting me all tangled, but I finally finished the job with a couple final hits. Before I could even celebrate, I was ambushed by some more Dark Elves and they killed me so quickly. But when I retrieved my gear, you wouldn't believe what I found. The biggest spider of my whole life. This thing dropped baby spiders that chased me through the frickin' Mistlands. I had to fight them, but then I just decided that I would run. They followed me the whole way back into the plains. It was terrifying, but I got my double swords out and I went to town. I kept going to town until I realized that the mother spider was actually being attacked by foolings over the other side, and they actually killed her for me. Thank Odin himself, for I could finally rest. Several boring days later and we're back in the Mistlands with new gear that's enchanted. Isn't it pretty? And I feel stronger against these relentless Mistlands mobs. But oh boy was I in for a surprise. I bump into none other than Mama Spider and all of her scary children. I get to swiping with my dual swords and actually do some serious damage now that I have a little bit more strength, and now it's time for mining heavy metal ore. Lots of it. Seconds after that first deposit is destroyed, I'm up against another one of those Dark Elders, and he's an absolute pain in my butthole. I go at him from distance and then get up nice and personal, block his heavy attack, and then get in there with the final sweep. It's hard to tell, but morning comes of the next day and another Dark Elder is trying to kill me, as well as a troop of Dark Elves. Everyone wants to kill you in the Mistlands, people, just know that. So I get out the dual swords, do this stabby, and then get stuck back into this guy hand-to-hand combat. I cut another tree down, but again without any time to celebrate, I get swamped by Dark Elves again. They hit harder than a Lox on steroids, but I get their sword and shield out and do what I do best, take them out. And with a boat full of heavy metal, we made our way home again. After another week at the base, prepping, smelting, all the good stuff, we come up to a Mistlands island and we raid it with the anticipation that it's chocked full of heavy metal ore. But I quickly get myself into an insanely chaotic fight with all sorts of Mistlands mobs, but I manage to get through it. Just look how creepy the Mistlands is when you're going through the big roots. Not very nice. I get on top of one of those roots to fight another Dark Elder and he breaks it on me. It scares the crap out of me, so I get up there in close combat again and chop the tree down. I'm basically a forester at this point, and I don't even use an axe. At this stage the Mistlands starts taking the piss a bit and it sends another Dark Elder at me, and I really have to be careful with this one because he nearly kills me. Look at this hit. It nearly got me so low and I'm just taking potions and running away. All his roots are doing damage as well. It was total chaos. But I healed up a bit, dodging his roots. I came flying at him with the dual swords, and again another win. And just when you think you're going to get a break in the Mistlands, more mobs come flying at you. A Voidling and 2 Dark Elves came hurtling at me, but I quickly dispensed of them. As a new day dawned and no heavy metal ore in sight, I got the hell out of there. Our next big adventure happened just beyond the halfway point of our 100-day journey. It was to a small Mistlands I noticed right in the edge of the world, and we were quickly greeted by both Mistlands and Plains mobs. Berserkers, Elders, Dark Elves. It was pure chaos. I ran as fast as I could away from the Dark Elders' roots and then got up close quarters and did my specialty, wood chopping. Right beside where I fought him, I noticed 2 different heavy metal ore deposits right beside each other, so I got out the pickaxe and started chopping them down. I quickly cleared out the area of remaining mobs before getting stuck in to the second ore deposit. And right beside that one was a third one. At this stage we had gotten very close to the edge of the deep north, and I went up, got super cold, super scared as this humongous stone golem got up, and I ran away, only to be ambushed back in the Mistlands by all sorts of mobs again. And you know what? I said screw it, and I ran back to my boat and sat down as a new day dawned again. A few days sailing and we're back at the Plains base with all of our gear, smelting it away to upgrade our Mistlands gear, which we did using the Dark Forge. And we managed to make a bow. Look at it, so cool. And with the remainder we were able to make a heavy metal sledgehammer, and it definitely packs a punch. I won't be hitting it down here. Several more days have passed as we went on this amazing journey from our base across the world to the boss altar of the Mistlands boss. It wouldn't be the Mistlands without a serious fight from the natives, and boy was I rolling around like a frickin' ninja, and absolute chaos was ensuing. But I put the effigies in, those trophies that I was talking about earlier, and the Morning Queen awoke. Look at her, she's absolutely insane. She was throwing these roots and these tendrils, using the roots to defend her from afar. 2 can play at that game because I used my bow and arrow and just shot from afar as well. But when her health got low, I started hitting her with the dual swords, chased her down, and finally ended the Mistlands boss. She dropped infused gemstone, which you can use to make the next tier of gear, found in the deep north. I mined some more heavy metal ore, be rude not to, saw a strangely beautiful sight from the top of one of these roots, and then out of nowhere, I just got shot by a double bow and died instantly. I ran back with backup gear and then managed to get rid of these 2-star bowmen, absolute beasts. But at the end of the day, the Mistlands boss was defeated, for now. About a week of in-game time later, the Journey to Valhalla modpack got an update, and the Mistlands boss, she had changed, so we needed to fight her again. I was instantly greeted at the altar by loads of mobs, including a Dark Elder, but I thought it might be worth trying summoning her and seeing if they'll fight each other. But to my stupidity, that did not happen, and I entered a chaos fight. Every 2-star Dark Elf bowman just decided to show up today, and I was killed in battle. And then I was murdered again. But 3rd time's a charm, I got my gear back for the 3rd time and started actually doing some work. The fight was ferocious, probably one of the toughest fights I've ever had in this game to date. Look how low my health is getting, but I managed to kite everyone back to the Black Forest out of the Mistlands to try and help me out while I fought the boss. And I sort of entered a beast mode and went on a little bit of a murder spree. Kind of killed every single mob in my vicinity just so I could get 1-to-1 with the Morning Queen, who now had an electric magical staff that did a serious amount of damage, but I was finally getting some damage in too, with my dual swords flurrying around like frickin' butterflies. Once I got her low, she started running again, and this was the hardest part. I managed to get her close to the altar again, but then I nearly killed her, and I actually got pushed away by the rest of the Mistlands mobs, and I was unfortunately absolutely wrecked. But you know what? Backup gear for the win. And day 69 of all days, we fought the Morning Queen with our backup gear right up to the end, and in a final desperate attempt, she tried to swim away, but her swimming was no match for my bow skills, and she was dead. With the Mistlands truly conquered, I started to look north. The next biome was calling me, the deep north, and that is where we go. With a brand new boat and a brand new plan, I made it to the deep north after several long days' journey. The first thing I wanted to do when I landed on the deep north was build a fortification, and I had a particular thing in mind. I wanted to build a Norman style castle that was crenulated, but also kind of went inwards every 4 blocks, so I used doors to do that. After a few days building, I managed to put the main structural integrity in and floors. There's 3 floors in the castle, which is pretty insane. It's really, really cool. Just look how high it is. It's pretty big. A few more days building and I had a stone staircase in, as well as points of interest, archways in each of the levels. And I also terraced the first floor. Up top, I made a structure entirely made of iron beams to support stone on the roof, and I also made a final corner terrace on this top floor. More time passes and more progress is seen, and I managed to get the foundations in for matriculations. I also put stone floor in on the roof, so it's fully secure now. Several more days building, and you can see I've done finishes with core wood, which looks really nice, and I've also finished this corner with stone. Now I'm going to shut up for a minute and reveal what I did with the inside. 100 days! I'll shut up again. This has been the first 100 days of my modded adventure in Valheim. It's been pretty good, right? It's just incredible what the Valheim modding community have come up with for these last 3 biomes, and a particular huge thanks to the dev side for making the Journey to Valhalla mod pack. It's given me so many more hours of Valheim and so much more enjoyment. So thank you so much. Guys, check out Journey to Valhalla. And don't you worry, there will be 200 days of modded Valheim coming soon. The more you guys like this video, the quicker I'll get the next installment out to you guys. I would love to get over 100 likes, and that would give me a good indication that you guys want to see more of this sort of stuff. Oh, and please consider subscribing to my budding new channel. My name's Jelly, I play Valheim. My channel's brand new as of 2022, so show me some love, and thank you very much. As we say in Irish, Garamila Mila Mahagat.